So, how did you end up here? This isn't something that a marketing thing or anything like that. Nothing. I'm not trying to push anything. Nothing. I am just curious how I can make a show or YouTube or whatever it is without utilizing the SEO tricks, the thumbnails, the hashtags, any of that. So if you found this, you're kind of beating the system with me. So the whole point of this is to kind of create this podcast or show. I don't know what you want to call it, because everyone's got podcasts nowadays and all that, with, a loose script on what I'm going to talk about. But the ultimate thing, this ultimate experiment that I'm hoping you're going to be a part of, is to come with me in like an organic growth thing, right? So you find it out, you send it to a friend, they watch it, kind of tumbles through that. I think one of the things that I've always had about like content creation and, other things around that is I just don't want to play the game, for lack of a better term. I don't want to play like, I don't want to have to make those cringy thumbnails or, I have to make sure in my tags I put the right hashtags, because if I put hashtag NBA and not hashtag NBA 2K26, a whole subset of people might miss out on my content. I want to take this and kind of hopefully show that you don't need that stuff, right? I just feel like everything's kind of optimized. Like you have to go about it this way in order to make something successful or make something interesting, or I guess interesting. This should be interesting, at least I hope. But, you have to follow the cringy thumbnails, the SEO tags and all that stuff. And I want to prove that wrong. I want to do that with these YouTube videos and figure this out. So the introduction to this is you're going to be coming along with me in a journey, hopefully, from nothing. I'm going to create a brand new YouTube profile and everything for this, and just hopefully build it up over time, just from people watching these videos and finding these, or maybe the algorithm pushes it to people, but I'm not doing anything SEO related, and I really want to see how it goes. So this is the introductory, I guess, episode, if you will. I've become so negative about, social media creation, and I just want to kind of prove that I don't need to follow I or someone else doesn't need to follow all those cringy trends. Have you ever actually, when's the last time you found something on accident, right? Like I've noticed on my YouTube, I have my number one recommended video, and then it has a number 2 and then a number 3. And then like the 4th or the 5th video tends to be these like, 15 to 20 view shows or podcasts or videos. But of course they're all SEO'd out to the gills. So of course they're going to be popping up on your page because they're semi-related to what you're looking for. But you've never, like, the thing you found on accident is just, it's gone now. There's nothing you can find by accident. Nothing that's completely not related to what you're typically watching. TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, that's all so SEO driven now and hashtag driven, keyword driven. And I want to get away from that. Just going forward too, I'm going to have no cuts, no editing. The titles, I don't know what I'm going to do for the titles yet, because I might just do the show name and call it good. Episode 1, 2, 3, blah, blah, blah. I just want to see how far this goes, but I'm not going to push it. I'm not going to spend money on trying to, do all the Google AdSense or whatever the heck it is, or pay people on Fiverr to go on to my thing and, and to push it. So I just want to cover stuff that I like on my days. No politics, but other stuff related to sports and I don't know. I don't want to just make it a normal just a sports podcast. I don't want to pigeonhole myself, because that's the other thing, right? That's the other thing is you have to find your niche and stick in that niche. And then from your niche, you have to expand your audience to a bigger audience. And look, the niche is my stuff, right? The niche is what I like. I want to enjoy what I'm going to sit here and talk with you guys about. So yeah, I do have slight outlines with these. So I don't want you to think that I'm doing this completely off the cuff. I do write down some things I do want to chat about. But overall, I just want this to be unscripted. I want this just to be me pressing record and talking for, 10 to 15 minutes, unless I really go on like a complete rant. But yeah, and honestly, this could completely flop. And if it does, maybe that's the point. I just want to get back that sense of like early YouTube like discovery, or kind of like how back when so I like music. So back when hip hop was first coming out, people's mixtapes, right? So guys would just hand out their mixtapes to people and see if they caught on. So I just want to see if we can kind of do that, right? Share this video with someone, this mixtape with someone. They play it, they say if they like it, they give it to another friend, and go from there. So I want that realness back in creation in social media that doesn't exist anymore, that has us caked on, everyone's wearing the same makeup now pretty much with it. So I just want this to mean something to someone, and not be because YouTube selected it because of the title that I have or the tags that I put in. So I'm not trying to fight algorithms either. I just want to see like if this goes anywhere. That's it. So if it does, what does that say, right? Did we beat the algorithms per se, or did I find a trick? I don't know. I see some of those videos. I'll use TikTok as an example, right? You have your super popular like content creators that they get to a point where they have 2, 3, 4 million people, but they don't have to even put a description, right? They just post a video and bam, 1 million likes. No description, no hashtags, nothing. So I don't want to be, cool. If we get that many followers, it's great, or subscribers, it's great. But I want it to be something like that, where I just want someone to find it, you guys share it with other people, and just go on from there. I want just nothing but organic growth, as much organic as we possibly can get. So that's really it for this intro episode. I'm just going to be covering stuff that I like going forward. We may get some audience feedback if there's enough. No politics, like I said, nothing controversial in that sense. Yeah, we can talk about podcasters. I have a whole thing about that. Maybe I should even talk about that. But actually, you know what? Yeah, this is what we mean by it's unscripted. Let's talk about that for a second here, because I said I want to be about 10 to 15 minutes for you guys. So, and that's not for any like specific like oh, I gotta get 10 to 15 minutes so I can get like ad revenue or whatever the hell it is. No, I just think I can talk to 10 to 15 minutes and try to keep things on the same track. So on the topic of podcasters, and you guys can probably hear my dog snoring in the background, and that's fine. We're gonna leave that. That's real life, guys. That's what I'm trying to show you guys is real life here. On the topic of podcasters covering things, this has been one of my biggest pet peeves. I was thinking about, everyone has podcasts nowadays, and I guess you can call that this, that. But it always got me wondering, like, okay, what makes this person qualified to talk about what they're talking about, right? So, for example, I'm going to try to not name names, but like comedy podcast, right? Obviously, your stand-up comedians, they're going to know something about comedy. So you're going to listen to them for comedy podcasts. But increasingly, because of podcast equipment being so cheap, people just start talking about whatever they think they know about. So I said I'm not going to talk about politics, but I'll bring it up in this sense where you have streamers that make a living off of politics, whether it be, on YouTube or Kick or Twitch or TikTok or whatever, right? But one of the things that always kind of annoys me is that they have just as much accreditation or experience with politics as someone like me, right? I've never done political science. I read Reddit and the news and stuff like that. But when I see folks like that cover social media or cover current events and then try to talk to you at a high level about them, their area of expertise is, a high school poli-sci class. And now, because they're either good looking or they're great at talking to people, their delivery is great, they now become a trusted expert in their field. And I just don't think that's right. I shouldn't, if I'm trying to get my opinions on the current, political situation, or if I want to get my opinions on, should, I'll use basketball as an example. Could Donovan Mitchell, who's the point guard for the Cavs, be the best player or be the number one player on a championship team? I want to find out people that have been covering the NBA for years, or coaches or other players. I don't want to hear from a guy like me who just reads Basketball Reference for fun. I don't want to do that. So we're in this culture now where if just the person's just good at talking and they're good looking, then they're now the expert, and all they're doing is reading news articles and then having their viewers react to the news articles. Then they react to what their viewers say. So it's great. It's banter with the community, but that person doesn't know anything more than what you know. So to wrap that all together, podcast equipment is cheap, hence me being here now, and anybody can talk about anything they want and make themselves perceive as, if that's the right way to say it, an expert in their field when they're not. And then they gain massive followings, and then stuff happens where there's fallout. And that really can be dangerous, regardless if it's, political or dangerous in the fact of just straight up misinformation or missing the entire picture. So, yeah. So to end this episode, or show, or whatever you want to call this, this is the whole point. Just to sum it up, I'm trying to see what happens when we go against the algorithm, right? I'm trying to see if we even need the catchy titles or the hashtags or anything like that. And I want to see nothing but organic growth from these videos, from you guys sharing it with others and bringing people here for the next one, and so on and so forth. So I didn't introduce my name. I don't know if I'm going to. I'm sure if it gets big enough, people will find it. Then cool, we can go from there. But I'm trying to keep this as plain as possible. I know I have a Dwight Howard jersey here. I have a Troy Polamalu thing here. A little steering wheel for racing. Oh, God. Here. But again, that's kind of it. So we're going to keep this as plain Jane as possible, and hope to see y'all next week, or next week. I don't know, dude. Is this a weekly thing? Who knows? Like I said, off the cuff. See you next time, guys.